I will never, ever use epoxy again to affix a knife handle. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As you guessed it, today we're doing a rehandling of my Koutetsu Type 2 petty. As you just saw in the intro, I took matters into my own hands, and that is because I strongly believe from a personal standpoint that one should never use epoxy to affix their handles on their knives. Why? Because it is destructive if ever you want to change the handle. Epoxy has a melting point of over 120 degrees Celsius. For my Fahrenheit brothers, I'll put this up on screen here. What that essentially means is the main method that I've used to remove handles from knives is I would put it over boiling water. So the steam of boiling water is actually above 100 degrees Celsius, and that would soften the adhesive inside the handle, allowing me to easily remove the blade. Not with epoxy. The only way to properly remove epoxy, and you can even ask handle makers, is going to be with a chisel, and that's what I mean by destructive. That handle can no longer be used to be put on another knife because you've destroyed it. I went through this destructive process when I tried to remove the handle on my Fujiwara Maboroshi Santoku. It had a beautiful dyed curly maple handle, which I was hoping to keep. Tried the boiling method, didn't work. Reached out to the handle maker. He says it's epoxy, you need to chisel it off, and so I did. I kept that handle just as a reminder of the destructiveness of epoxy. Now, that being said, I know that lots of you in the past have had questions on, Frankie, why is it that you use wax? Is it really safe? Wax does have a melting temperature of, say, at the lowest end, 36 degrees Celsius, which isn't very high. In some countries, you get to above 36 degrees Celsius just in your home, just because of ambient temperature, because you're in the tropics, it's just a really warm summer, but that's at the low end. And there's also different quality waxes. Waxes can have lots of impurities. Something like beeswax, for instance, would have a melting point, a melting temperature of above 60 degrees Celsius. So no, I am not advising each and every one of you to remove your handles, to put on some impure wax that melts at 36 degrees Celsius, to then have an accident and say, Frankie, it's your fault. What I'm saying is, this is what I use in order to have a means that isn't destructive, and because I have candles that are in my home. Now, I am a home cook, not a professional cook. Now, I'm not cooking in kitchens that even have this super high ambient temperature where I might be worried. I've never had any accidents. I've now done it a few times. The funny thing is, the handle on my Koutetsu was the first ever custom handle that I put on myself. It was a handle that came from Real Sharp Knife. He had sent me a bit of epoxy. I put it on, no problem, never thought twice about it until I decided time for a new handle. And so the options for the two new handles were two beautiful versions of Ambonia burl from Kitchen Knives ID in Indonesia, and then one beautiful horn and rosewood handle from Stay Sharp Montreal. Now, quite honestly, I ordered the handles from Indonesia custom made to the tang size of the Koutetsu because that's what I intended to put on it. But of course, as any good Instagram knife person does, I put up a poll and Ambonia still won. So I just chose my favorite version of the two, and that's the one we're going to be putting on the knife today, and not the horn and rosewood. Beautiful handle, but that one felt a little bit small in hand, and I'll likely put it on something else. So keeping the melting temperatures of these affixants in mind, the goal, the objective going forward is do as I say, not as I do. And so when I use the chisel, and what you're going to see is going to be the next segment, please find a stable surface, not what I thought was the stable surface. Then I continue to hack away at the handle anyways because Becca was filming and YOLO. So enjoy this next segment of how I remove the handle off the Koutetsu. Bro, I really didn't think you were gonna... Yeah, he's trying to eat the handle. Huge. So actually what he did, it's actually kind of curious. So he did use epoxy, but actually I did this because I put the handle on. I'm smart. I wrapped it in tape. So on the inside, because I put tape around it, yeah, it just came off really easily. And now here, voila. Oh, this is great. This went really well. I wasn't sure, I was afraid to get stabbed. We got the dog who's eating leftover handle. You're doing great, Becca. Look at that. I don't even need to do any polish job on the tang. it's ready to be rehandled. Thanks. All right, welcome back. What did you think? Easy peasy enough? I have this little tool maker's vise that I like to kind of just stabilize my knives or my handles in, and that gave me a stable enough surface, except of course that little outdoor patio table, that wasn't the most stable surface. So do find something a little bit more stable to do this in a safe manner. So now, as I told you, I am going to go with the Ambonia Option 1 handle from Kitchen Knives ID. I use little teak handles from IKEA, which I cut with a little dull knife to just kind of fit inside the handle. I try to go about halfway up because I know that the tang, of course, is going to take up space in the handle, so I don't want it to overflow too much. The first time I actually did it, and also make sure you don't heat the tang too much, but the first time I did it, I realized there wasn't enough wax. So again, because it's wax and not epoxy or even hot glue, easy peasy, removed it, heated the tang again, went for my second go, perfect. Just a little bit of wax came out, allowed that to solidify, making sure the angle of my spine was fine, both in the front and the blade edge, as well as that angle to make sure it's aligned with the handle. Used a blunt/sharp tool to just kind of clean it up, and there you go, voila, easy peasy. That's all there is to it. Now, though I am not advocating to using wax for all your purposes for rehandling, I would say that a juste milieu, a safe bet in the middle, would be to use something like hot glue, which is also an item that most people would have at home. So maybe go ahead and use hot glue instead. That's it, guys. I hope you like the look of this new handle. Thank you so much to Kitchen Knives ID for this beautiful single piece Ambonia burl handle for my Koutetsu Type 2 150mm petty. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this content. And otherwise, see you next time.